Don Paris, who holds an honorary PhD, is an internationally published author, speaker, video producer, and musician. He used to be a rock star. His book, Regaining Wholeness Through the Subtle Dimensions, has been published in many international languages, and Don Paris is known to be the guru of the SE5, the world's most respected subtle energy scalar instrument. Don was awarded an honorary doctorate degree in human sciences from the International University of Vitalogical Sciences in Stockholm, Sweden in the year 2000 for his work with the SE5 and scalar energies. He and his wife, Ilona Selke, and that is me, work as a team, as you can see, and we've contributed both to radio shows and TV shows. He has been quoted in numerous publications around the world. When not traveling to teach, he and his wife divide their time between their homes on an island in the Pacific Northwest and on the island of Bali. He has dedicated his work to bridging the barriers of the physical boundaries to the subtle dimensions. Welcome on Women's Broadcast Television Network today with Ilona Selke here on Quantum Living. I have already introduced you my very special guest today, a stellar man, Dr. Don Paris, a moment ago, and he's going to be joining me here in our studio in Bali at the Shambhala Retreat Center. Oh my God.
Thank you.
You look just like in the movie. I saw you in that 4-minute clip where you come fresh from another planet and bring some technology that we desperately need on this planet.
From the future.
Because Dr. Don Paris has been inventing and working with an amazing technology, which I'm privileged to be wearing, the CHIO, and it stands for?
Chi Organizer. It organizes our chi energy and keeps our energy field balanced in the midst of electromagnetic fields and other disturbances.
That is so true. We all know that we are having Wi-Fi all over the world now, and they're trying to make it a worldwide net. And you have some pictures to show us of the immensity of Wi-Fi towers in America alone.
Well, let's just look at America. Here's an example of the Wi-Fi net just over America. And if you look at the cities, some of these large cities like Chicago, New York, Seattle, Los Angeles, it's blanketed completely. In fact, the whole nation is blanketed, except for a few places like up here in Montana. If you're up in the mountains, maybe there's not so much Wi-Fi or smart meters or different signals that are interfering with our biological systems. But basically, it's over the whole United States now.
So the biological system has been weaned on the Schumann frequency, which is the Earth brainwave frequency. That's 7.83 hertz.
Correct. Originally, we thought that the Schumann frequency was locked to a certain frequency, and we found now over time that it's been fluctuating. Sometimes it goes up as high as 11 hertz. But these are biofrequencies, and our cells have been trained in this field for thousands of years. Our cells know these biofrequencies.
Hundreds of thousands of years, really.
Realistically, since forever. We don't know how long the Schumann resonance has been at that frequency or in that range, but generally it's probably been hundreds of thousands of years in our evolution.
So just so the viewer knows, the Schumann frequency of 7.83 hertz that Schumann discovered lies around the area of the brainwave frequency that we go into when we are in a meditative state. The shamans, the meditators are naturally in that state. Children are naturally in that state, still up to age 7 and up. And they naturally gravitate into this earth frequency. And it is said that the people who can harness the power of that frequency and lock onto it have the amplification of the entire planet behind them.
Exactly. In fact, my friend Dr. Bob Beck has done research in that regard, and he created an electroencephalograph, very sensitive EEG that would go on the forehead, and he was actually able to play the Schumann resonance in one ear, the 7.83 hertz or harmonic thereof, and then the person's own brainwave in their other ear. And the idea was to bring them into harmony and match them, and when they did, they had basically superpowers.
What could they do?
They could see things at a distance, for example. They could bend spoons, they'd have psychokinesis, move things, objects at a distance.
just because they learn to lock onto the earth frequency and have the amplification of the earth's power behind them.
Yeah, correct. It was magical. Now, of course, Bob Beck has already passed on, but he was a really close friend of mine, and he taught me a lot about scalar electromagnetics, and some of the devices that he created had that scalar aspect to them. And that's one of the things that we use in the Chi Organizer is a scalar field.
So let's bring that back to the Chi. The Chi Organizer then helps bring, and let's open this up and let the viewer have a look at it.
Sure.
The magnificence of it. You're having this produced in Bali, right?
Correct. And later we can look at where we produce them and how they're done. They're done with so much care and love. It's just a beautiful,
But so I see the
thing.
blinking light. There is a sound that comes off it. It has scalar, you say. So tell me, I do know as much as to say that there is a passive device, which a lot of people sell as pendants, and they're like amulets, and people believe that's really going to do something. And then there are these devices like this that is an active device.
Correct. The difference between passive and active scalar devices, passive scalar devices do exist. And for example, like a hologram, you see these hologram bands that people wear, the power balance bands or different types of holograms, and they do work as long as your energy field is charged up, because they're using your energy field to power them.
Okay.
Our actual fluctuation of our biofield and our electromagnetic energy in our body is powering those devices that help give us a boost.
All right.
That works as long as our energy's up. But if our energy is down, they'll actually drain more energy out of us. So what these do is, this has a battery in it, so it uses its own power to power that scalar field. So even if our energy field is low, then it brings us up no matter where we're at.
So when Wi-Fi frequencies are around, you will be able to be protected with this kind of device. Why? How come?
Well, basically it gives a honing signal for our cells to tune into this bioresonant frequency. It puts out about 6 different fundamental frequencies and then thousands of harmonics that are in the bio range, which our planet has been emanating. Like, for example, when lightning goes off, it puts off a certain band of frequencies. And our cells know these biofrequencies. But the new frequencies that have come in from Wi-Fi and cell phone towers and smart meters, they're foreign to our cells, and our cells get disoriented.
So let's look at some pictures that you've prepared for us about what this Wi-Fi frequency, or cell phones even, do to our blood cells. I was so amazed, like, looking at the blood studies that you showed me.
Yeah,
Let's have our viewers see some of them.
So this is an example of a woman's bloods, just without any Wi-Fi on, no cell phone around, no Chio on, just how her blood is. And she isn't in the healthiest of state. Her cells should look like this, where there's space around each one of the cells. So they're a bit clumped together already. But then I asked her to make a 10-minute cell phone call on her cell phone. And this is what it looked like after just 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just clumped together, and the cells are like hoarding together. They're trying to protect themselves from these foreign frequencies. They don't know what to do with these frequencies.
So when blood clumps together, why is that bad?
Well, because then the immune system can't go in and clean the cells, the oxygen doesn't get to the cells. There needs to be free flow of the blood cells for the information exchange and the chemical exchange in the blood.
So ideally the blood should look more like this, free flowing, open,
Correct.
Oxygenated, nutrition coming in and all that. Okay.
Exactly.
So then when a person wears this?
Yeah, so I then asked her to put on the Chio and turn it on for about 10 minutes. And now here's what her blood looked like after only 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
It changed that drastically.
Yeah, just within 10 minutes. And this isn't just an isolated case. Here are some more. I'll just show a few more. Here's before, after the cell phone, and then after 10 more minutes
Of wearing the Chio.
And here's another one.
So the Chio actively is an active, scalar producing, Chi organizing device.
Correct.
A wearable technology, so to speak, that is positive for a change.
Yeah, exactly. This puts out the frequencies that our body craves and needs to be able to stay in balance, keep our Chi energy focused, and keep our energy in alignment.
So I remember you mentioning that woman that was Wi-Fi sensitive and she couldn't sleep if there was Wi-Fi on. How did that turn out?
Worked out really well. It took her time. She had to wear the Chio for about a year before she could actually sleep in a hotel with the Wi-Fi on.
But before, she was never able to sleep.
Even if the Wi-Fi was on 3 or 4 floors down, she would not be able to sleep, and she would ask them to turn it off at night, and if they would forget, she would actually know. She would be laying there awake and go downstairs and say, "Did you turn off the Wi-Fi?" And they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we forgot."
So after a year of wearing this, she was able to then sleep and get through the night with a Wi-Fi on in the same room.
In the hotel, yeah. I mean, it's widespread. It's not a Wi-Fi unit in the room, but it's spread out through the hotel.
All right, so then you have lots of stories like that where people are actually able to sense a change or have
we
more
have
energy?
tons of testimonials. People love the CHIO. The biggest one that I hear repeatedly is, "I love my CHIO, and I just feel better when I have it on."
Awesome.
Everybody says that.
How can people read or hear about the CHIO?
Well, they can go to our website at www.chiorganizer.com.
It's one word, Chi Organizer with a Z-E-R .com. All right. So, you know, just because I love this section of the film, I would love for you to introduce that video clip of you coming from the future to tell us about the CHIO.
Okay, we had a lot of fun doing this, and it gets the point across in a fun way, but it's very serious information, and we tried to pack a lot of information into a very short amount of time, so let's go ahead and watch.
It's a 4-minute video.
Correct.
Thank you.
I'm here to tell you about the Chi Organizer technology. The Chi Organizer technology is advanced technology that uses counter-rotational orthogonal fields to produce time-reverse conjugate waves to propagate the intrinsic data fields into your environment from our programmed hologram chips. Hello? Yes? Are you with me? Oh, that's right. We're on Earth, 21st century.
Who are you, and where did you come from? What are you talking about?
I'm from the future, and I'm here to tell you about something that will change your life. In the future, we already know that electromagnetic radiation is poisoning the environment and damaging the DNA. There are some people on Earth in your time zone that are aware of this, but it's being covered up by vested interests, just like the tobacco companies did in the early 60s and 70s.
Oh, I love a good conspiracy.
If you want to go down that rabbit hole, that's really deep, and I don't have time for that now, but I can give you a download.
That's a lot of information. Can you just run through that for me?
So here's an example of someone's blood cells. These are normal blood cells. They have space around them, and each cell should have a little bit of room to move. And here's what it looks like after talking on a cell phone for only 10 minutes. You can see how the cells are clumping together. They're trying to protect themselves from these invading electromagnetic frequencies. And here's what they look like after only 10 minutes of using the Chi Organizer. You see how they've started to spread out, giving more space? They're relaxing. Cells need these bio-friendly frequencies to orient themselves.
So why don't you call it a blood organizer?
The Chi Organizer is not a medical instrument. It puts out bio-friendly frequencies so that your cells can hone in onto that biofrequency and open up your meridians and unblock the Chi stagnation so your Chi flows throughout your whole body.
How do you know all of this?
Well, I stand on the shoulders of many that have come before me, like for example Nikola Tesla. In the mid-1950s, Galen Hieronymus got a US patent on a radionics device, and his friend, Dr. Willard Frank, I worked with him for 25 years, and he added scalar electromagnetics into this concept. Would you like a download for this?
Wow.
Got it?
Yeah. So tell me about this Chi Organizer.
This is the first CHIO. It's called the Chi Organizer. It was small, lightweight, could be worn around the neck or on an armband. It puts out bio-friendly frequencies 30,000 times per day to enhance your Chi energy with these specific frequencies. And it's a great little unit, but we had other ideas in mind as well. So we met with some fantastic biogeometric designers and we created the CHIO 2. We also added some new features on the second generation of the CHIO. We added the Sri Yantra symbol, powdered gemstones, Panche Dhatu, which are the 5 sacred metals they use in Bali, underneath of the temples before they build them. And then they bless that metal to create an energy vortex. And each one of the CHIO 2s are blessed by a Balinese priest before they're sent out. We added orgonite, tensor rings, This is one of the most powerful talismans on Earth. People fell in love with the Chio too, but for some people it was a little bit too big to wear, especially for women. So we're developing a smaller unit both for men and for women. The added feature that we've put into the new Chio Phi is that you can open it up and insert a hologram chip inside of it. So you can change the vibrational frequency of your atmosphere by putting in a different holographic chip. We have hologram chips that will work on different frequencies. For example, improving sports, eliminating jet lag, chakra balance, things like that. We even have one for reverse aging.
So how can I help?
To support the human race, we're looking for volunteers to help protect the human genome in its purest state from the million-fold increase of EMF in your environment. We want you and your children and your children's children to be there to meet me in the future. We want to thank you for your support in our project.
Wow, that was fun. That was really fun. So actually we repeated some of the same information that we said. We saw the blood studies there. We're seeing the effects that it has positively on us. Now, this is a pretty big piece of jewelry. I have to tell you, it's not light and it's not invisible.
No, in fact, I was in Singapore and I got off of the MRT and I was walking through Chinatown. And I only got about 100 yards before I was stopped 5 times by people saying, "Wow, that is wonderful, what is it?" And of course I would open it up, and the wonderful thing I like is whenever I open it up to see the expression on their face, and they just light up and just go, "Wow, what is that?" And of course I explained it, and it's a beautiful piece, but it is a little too big for some people. So our next development was the Chio Phi. And
oh, let me see that.
It's
okay, now
beautiful.
That's a little bit more like, wow, that's beautiful. So that's called Phi because you have the Phi ratio in there.
Correct. It's all based on the Phi ratio, which is the harmonic of what life uses to manifest everything. The design of leaves to the design of our fingers and arms and legs, everything is built on that Phi ratio.
Okay, so that, is it now, since it's a lot smaller, more dainty, does it still have the power? Does it still do the job?
It still does a very good job. It's not as powerful as this one. We've tested them, and this one is about twice as powerful. So for people that are on their computer all day long, if they're doing 8 hours a day, really they need a big one.
Do they have to wear it, or can they just have it sitting
No,
next
they can have it on there. It goes out about 2 meters, and so they can actually have it on their desk. The big one actually goes out about 4 meters in range, and the small one goes out about 2 meters.
Okay, so, but this one you would have to wear on you to have an effect, or?
It's better to be wearing it, or like at night, I put it on my nightstand next to me. I don't have to wear it at night. Okay. But when we did this one, I wanted to add something that was really exciting, and we've been doing so much research on it, is to add these little tiny holograms inside, these holographic chips. And let me just, before we go into the depth of how they work with the Chio, let me just show you some studies of what some people have done with these holographic chips. For example, here's a study where they did with sports people, and they were pedaling on a bicycle that was connected to a generator so they could measure to see how many watts they were producing in a certain amount of time. And so they did a double-blind placebo test. So some people got the holographic stickers on them that were programmed, and some people did not.
So you're saying that some people wore the stickers and thought that maybe the sticker could work or maybe it couldn't work. They didn't know if it had a program in it.
So placebo means that some had information in the hologram and some didn't. And so here's the study where you can see that the people were able to produce more energy. They had a higher output of wattage in the same amount of time than the people that didn't. But not only that, they've done it for sleep. Here are some sleep studies. They did it for rhinosinusitis. This was like 90% effective compared to 8 or 10% placebo effect.
Show the viewers the apple one that you showed me.
Oh, this is really exciting. So one of my clients decided to cut an apple in half and then put the programmed hologram on half of the apple and the other half of the apple no hologram at all, and let them sit for 4 months.
This was your client in Singapore?
Correct. And then after 4 months, he cut each half in half to see what it would look like inside. So here's what it looked like on the part that got the hologram.
Okay.
It's still nice and green inside.
Well, you
Looks
see
good.
that, it's been 4 months, yeah?
It's been 4 months.
Okay, well, it's not so bad.
No. Now let's look at what happened without a hologram.
Oh my God, terrible.
That's amazing, isn't that
So
amazing?
that's the same apple.
It was one apple to begin with. They cut it in half, and then one got the hologram and one didn't.
So the hologram prevented the apple from decaying.
Correct. Here's another example with nectarines. So these two got the holograms, and this one didn't, and you can see after 2-3 weeks, the difference is amazing. It kept the fruit fresh.
So you're using these holograms then in the Cheos, the little Cheos. Here, this one that I was just, can you show me again?
Okay, so we open it up, and here we have a small hologram. We've put it on an SD card. It's a dummy SD card. There's no memory in it. It's just to hold the hologram, and then it slips into the little SD card holder, and when we put it inside, then we can close it, and it starts broadcasting these informational fields that are stored in the hologram in a larger field.
So it's sending the information from the hologram out to the field, and it blinks just to let me know it's working?
No, it's actually putting those frequencies out through 3 different levels. It's going through the light, sound, it actually makes sound if you listen to it, and through the scalar field. So we're actually emitting in these 3 different levels of frequencies.
So I think everybody should be having one.
I think everybody will be having one very shortly as we start to progress and realize that these damaging frequencies from cell phones and Wi-Fi and smart meters are actually real effects on people.
Well, I mean, I know they have done the studies, and the solution of the health department was to have more surgeons, instead of telling people not to put the cell phone on the brain.
I heard you say that in Germany, that they did the study and found out that they were getting more brain tumors, and their solution was to train more brain surgeons. Now, that doesn't make much sense, does it?
Well, I'd rather wear even a big thing like this around, and actually it looks pretty interesting. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I'm not saying that if you wear a Cheo that you put a cell phone to your head that it will prevent brain tumors, because that is microwave radiation going directly into the brain. And like, for example, here's a picture of what that radiation does into the head of an adult versus a child.
So the child, where the radiation goes straight through the skull.
It goes almost all the way through the skull, where, we have thicker bone plating and it doesn't go as far, but it's still not a good idea to put a cell phone ever directly on your head.
I hate doing that. I have a big cell phone, so I never put it to my head.
Right.
I put earphones to it. When I have it on my head, it cooks my brain, my ear, everything gets...
They're microwaves. They cook. That's what they do. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sold.
Our latest development is the Cheo bracelet. It opens up on 2 different levels. On the first level, you open it up and you can change the battery. And on the second level, you can insert a programmed hologram card, just like in the Cheo Phi.
I really love this technology. So can you let people know how they can find out about it, or how they can become part of this team, this movement, and learn more of your research? Is there a way to sign up for a newsletter by you?
Sure. They could go to my other website, which I have, where I work in the field of radionics. It's called the SE5, and it's se-5.com. And I send out periodic newsletters, not too often, but I try to find the most cutting-edge research and developments and put that out to my mailing list around the world.
Oh, and that's when they get that free ebook. By the way, that book is awesome. It's called Regaining Wholeness Through the Subtle Dimensions by Dr. Don Paris, where science meets magic. And that is a fabulous book. It starts out with a time traveler or with a dream traveler, right?
Yeah, that's a lucid dream adventure. I like to have different adventures and I like to play different roles. And now I'm from the future, but then I was actually out of my body, and I happened to go into the future and find this technology.
So maybe you are a man from the future, bringing technology back to our planet to help us live a healthier life.
Yeah, I think that it's needed right now, and anybody, like for example Nikola Tesla, any great inventor, I think all of us do kind of project ourselves into the future to see what's coming and try to draw information out from the trend or the informational fields that are coming toward us. Because I believe, not that the future is fixed, but that there's a stream, there's like a time stream, and we can actually reach into that and grab some of the nuggets out of it. It's not like we have a set future, but we have a stream or a general projection of where the future is going.
Potential.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that potential has power to reach back to us and help us. So I hope that you've had the feeling that your future is coming to visit you today, saying, have a look at this show. Please be aware of what you're doing here on this planet to yourself, and protect yourself and your children. Now, I do know that you're having these produced in Bali, and I would love to show our viewers the productions of the Chio in Bali, being blessed by a priest.
I just love the Bali people, and they put so much care and love into the production of each unit. They're all handmade. Each one of these is made from beginning to end by hand. This isn't like a production line or some machine robot stamping these out. Each one is really made with care, and you'll see that in the film. And they're beautiful people, and when they're all done, we do the blessing ceremony on each of them, because they're made with what's called Panche Datu, which is a name for the 5 sacred metals that they put underneath of the temples in Bali and India before they build the temple. And they have a special Hindu ceremony where they bless the metals or charge these metals up to create an energy vortex in Sanskrit. And so we'll show a little bit of that as well.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, please stay with us on to the next film on how the Chio is being made in Bali, and get a little cultural exposure of traveling with me around the world.
Bali is mostly known as an exquisite tourist destination because of its beauty, its interesting and unique ceremonies, deep spiritual culture, and the open-hearted Balinese people. Secondly, it is known for its highly skilled craftspeople, world-class artists, and jewelers. The sheer number of artisans in Bali is unsurpassed anywhere in the world. It is in this flourishing artistic environment that we have found a way to combine the world's most advanced scalar technology with the deep spiritual roots of Bali culture to bring you the jewelry Chio. Each step of the Chio creation is handcrafted with care and enthusiasm to create not just a product, but a holy object infused with sacred energy. A treasure of artistry and healing potential. The Sri Yantra symbol is thought to be the most powerful geometric form on Earth. Into this form, we impress crushed moonstone and Agnohorta ash. The Chio is the world's only active EMF protection unit that works on so many levels. Light, sound, scalar electromagnetics, advanced geometric resonance, tensor rings, orgonite, programmed holograms, gemstones, and a mix of the sacred metals called the Panche Datu, used in the base of all temple building throughout Bali and India. The Bali culture is still alive in everyday interaction with the spirit worlds. Throughout all of Bali, people make blessings and ceremony for the spiritual side of life at least twice a day. After the Chios are completed, a blessing ceremony from a Balinese priest called a Pamangku is held for each batch of Chios. The Bali priest infuses the Chios with spiritual energy that is subtle yet tangible. Like all true talismans, the infused energy produces a positive field of energy for the wearer.
for this, yeah, chill finish after blessing.
Thank you very much for viewing this show with Dr. Don Paris. Thank you very much for coming to be with us here.
It was wonderful, and I just love what you're doing, and spreading this information out is very dear to my heart. I think that every single person that gets this information and passes it along will be helping more and more and more people.
It's a wave that we all need to pass along because, as you know, it's not yet on CNN News. Thank you very much for joining me here at Quantum Living with Ilona Selke live on Women's Broadcast Television Network. And we'll see you for the next segment. Thank you very much, Dr. Don Paris. Goodbye.
Thank you.